Hey, everybody, welcome to another Wellness Minute with Wes. And this week, a very interesting topic. It's a hot one. And if you haven't heard about it, you won't have to look far or listen too long to hear the new buzz in the marketplace today. It's called CBD oil. And I'm very excited tonight to have a panel of guests, two of my real good friends, Gina Nobles from the University of Louisville. She's not from the University of Louisville. She's from Louisville. And she is a neuroscientist that works at the University of Louisville. And a good friend of mine, Nicole Connor from the Sierra Mountains in California. Nicole is an integrative health coach. And both of them have been, I think, just cramming their head full of all kinds of information on CBD oil. I know basic stuff. So I'm going to open up the panel for discussion. We're going to throw around some ideas and talk about some different things. And a new earth-shattering thing coming out, a new product that Zija International is bringing out, which is new to the marketplace, which is really going to help a lot of people. We'll be discussing that as well. So I'm going to open it up. I'll go with you, Gina, first. Like I said, Gina's a neuroscientist, so she understands a little bit about the CB1 and CB2 stuff. So, Gina, have at it. Maybe you can fill us in here. What's your thoughts on the CBD oil?
Sure. Thanks, Wes, for having me. Hi, Nicole. I think it's really important to just come out of the gate by just saying this is not marijuana we're talking about. We're talking about the benefits of what cannabinoids that are a constituent of marijuana can help you with and the benefits of those. So let's just get that out on the table. CBD and THC are very different components and act very differently in the body. So a really interesting gentleman named Dr. Ben, a chiropractor and also an internist, talked about the CB1 receptors that are primarily in the brain, and that's where THC works mostly, and then CB2 receptors that are throughout the body, particularly in our immune system, where the CBD acts primarily. So he talked about a possible disconnect between the mind and the body, and CBD oil is a nice way to bring together that communication between mind and body. So we were talking earlier, I think it's very interesting that there's a natural plant out there in the world that has components that interact with our natural cannabinoid receptors in our bodies. So it just is a really interesting thing to think about when you have something natural that can actually work to provide relief from anxiety, sleep disorders, immune issues, digestive issues, pain and inflammation. And so this new product that we're going to talk about is something I think that is going to really revolutionize people's thinking about how they can naturally heal themselves. So
it is really exciting. I mean, and we don't have all the information out on all this stuff. I mean, it's just coming out into the marketplace, and we're just going to be hammered with all kinds of stuff on TV and the media, and I'm sure they're going to tell us what they want us to hear. And so I think it's important that all of us get together like this and start doing some research and sharing stories and information amongst ourselves so we can get the cold, hard facts. Nicole, maybe you could give us a little bit of input. What's your feelings on the CBD oil?
Well, I'm interested in this product for a number of reasons. Sorry, my printer just went. I'm interested for a number of reasons. One, because my practice is to help people find balance in their life, not only nutritionally, but in their overall mental health and wellness overall. We've all know people who've been using cannabis products for those reasons for centuries, right? We know a lot of people who use them to relax, to sleep, from edibles to, new tablets to anything you can imagine. It's been out there for a long, long time. With the new political decisions that have been made, it's now going to be widely available to people and a lot more acceptable. But what we're talking about that makes it, I think, for my clients and people who are interested in just kind of what Dr. Gina was talking about is connecting your mind and your body together, and for how long people can go. I'll use myself as a really good example. Under chronic stress conditions, how our mind has disconnected from what we really need. Wes, for example, let's say that you had a really busy work week, and that work week you were exhausted physically, but you had to keep going. You make a mental decision. This is short term, it's temporary, I'm on a project thing, and I'll just keep going until I get done with that project. We as Americans and others around the world have been subject to chronic stressful situations for so long that we no longer know what we need anymore. So if you have a product like this CBD patch that's coming out that has these chemical constituents that can make your brain talk to your body again, and I'm talking about neurotransmitters, I'm talking about hormone communication. So we have hunger hormones, we have satiation hormones, we have reproductive hormones, we have sleep hormones. All of those hormones are disrupted by chronic stress from cortisol. Our hunger and our satiation has been interrupted by the insulin overabundance because of cortisol stress. If let's just say, for example, and we don't know for sure, but if this particular product, this plant that exists in nature, we don't have to modify it. We use a hemp plant that's geared towards CBD, not THC. The CBD portion of that that's getting your CBD1 and 2 connectors to connect, to make these things start talking to each other again. Imagine not having to figure out how much to eat anymore because your satiation hormone triggers your brain and says, oh, hey, Nick, that's enough. Or, gosh, I'm really tired. I really should probably go to bed now because that hormone keeps saying, hey, you're tired, you're thirsty, you're whatever. We're so disconnected. Imagine what it was like when you were a kid. You know,
right.
For example, like kids that are tired, they just lay down and sleep. And you're like, how do they do that? Because they're not under chronic stress, right? Their life hasn't totally interrupted them and got hijacked somewhere. So for me, Wes and Gina, I mean, I'm excited about this personally. I can't wait till it comes out. And I would never have tried another product anywhere else except from our company because I know it's vetted. I know that it's been tested. I know that when they tell me how much of something it's in it, it is. They provide that testing for us. Otherwise, I wouldn't trust it anywhere else. So
you know, Nicole, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there, but what you just brought up, chronic stress, I don't think people realize, and Dr. Gina, you could probably maybe even go on to this. This is kind of off on another tangent, but chronic stress creates so many health issues. I mean, somebody gets into a chronic stress loop and they live that way for years. That's what brings on our autoimmune disease. That will bring, things like lupus and fibromyalgia and narcolepsy. Those are just to name some of the little ones. And then you got anxiety disorders. And then you start having the body start attacking itself and you got chronic inflammation. And the CBD oil will help address a lot of those issues. It really will. I mean, they talk about relieving anxiety and giving you stress-free or peace, and it starts attacking inflammation. So, wow, this could be a real big thing for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to talk a little bit more about that, how the chronic stress thing, yes, it's a little bit more tangential, but it does, come back around in the whole picture. But I can personally speak to that in graduate school. So the chronic stress, it caused mitral valve prolapse, which is a heart condition.
Wow.
Stress. And you talk about, the fight or flight response, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, those responses. You imagine when someone startles you, that kind of rush that you get, that warm feeling with all the adrenaline that just rushes into your system. Well, there's a reason that's a survival mechanism so that you can actually act and move and get out of danger. But when that is happening, constantly flooding your system through the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, if we want to get really technical, that never shuts off. And that becomes literally poison in your body. And there's all different manifestations of that. I happen to have mitral valve prolapse where I had to have an echocardiogram, wear an event monitor. And then some people get big bellies because of the cortisol that's constant. So this, if you can have something like CBD oil, a patch that has a timed release to calm that system down, kind of reboot everything, get everybody in line, shut off some of that symptom, shut off some of those valves that are just, pouring into the system. It's just, it's incredible. And I was telling you guys earlier, I'm so excited for so many people. There's so many implications for this, from autoimmune to anxiety to chronic inflammation and pain and digestive issues, gut health. It's incredible. So I feel like I'm in awe right now because of when you think about the magnitude and how many people are going to benefit from this. It's incredible.
And there's the big C too. I've seen that listed too. I don't know what it's going to do for cancer patients, whether it helps deal with side effects of their medication that they're on, or I don't know. I can't come out and say that because we're going to be talking about a different company.
And we can't come out and say that. But again, another personal story. When I've been thinking about this, so many personal stories. My father unfortunately passed away from brain cancer at the age of 41, and I'm 42. So I'm thinking, how young he was, and I think about just the palliative care, just the relief of pain, discomfort that could have happened without being so doped up on morphine. Not that this is going to prevent or cure anything necessarily, but if you could alleviate suffering from someone that you love, just from in their last days, without them being completely checked out because of morphine,
Right.
It would be huge for family members and for individuals to not suffer. So that's a very personal thing for me. I can see families going forward. Mm-hmm.
Nicole, I wanted to ask you, since you're out there in California, you're in the heat of it. Because California is one of the first states, right, to legalize marijuana. So I'm sure the hemp and the cannabis and all that's a buzzword out there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Boy, the CBD oil is nothing new. It's been on the market out there for quite a while, right? And
yeah, it has been out for a while. In fact, one of the things I think you said in your video after the conference that you went to when they announced the release of the product was that this was going to be a full spectrum CBD oil, not an isolate. So there are many products on the market right now that are isolate oils. You could get them cheaply, as cheap as say $15-18 a bottle, up to $250 a bottle. And I would wager, because I haven't done this research yet, but I'm in the process of finding out those that have just isolate. And there are other companies on the market right now that have patches that do have similar kind of absorption. But if they're inexpensive, then my guess would be is that they don't have as many, it's not full spectrum. So the higher the dollar amount, my guess would be is that they have more of the chemical constituents that can be medicinally effective. Again, it's just kind of my, 1 + 1 is 1, 2, you know what I mean? Let's do the math, right? So sorry, go ahead.
what's the difference between, what's the advantage to going with the patch? Obviously, I've talked about this before, but you can elaborate. What's the difference between the oil? All right, so I'm on a tight budget. I go buy a $10 bottle of oil and I just put the drops under my tongue. I assume that's how they do it. Or is the patch better? What makes one better than the other?
Well, I'm going to answer that from an essential oils user perspective, because I don't know, I've not tried that. So what we do know about essential oils is, and CBD is an essential oil, it's extracted from a plant, right? If it's placed directly on the skin without a carrier type of oil with it, you get about 5% absorption. If you take an essential oil through the mouth, those that are safe to do so, you have a better chance of absorbing more of that oil depending on how it breaks down. So if you're using it in a capsule, like a veggie cap, that's designed to get through your digestive tract and then into the small intestines and lower intestines so that it's absorbed 100%, right? Now through the skin, also, so when it goes through your system, it has to be processed through your liver and then gets dispersed into your bloodstream, right? So by a patch, you're bypassing the liver processing of that. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gina, but I think that's right. So if you are putting something that's now covered so it doesn't evaporate, because the patch would be, you know, a sealed access into the skin, it's absorbed directly into the bloodstream over time, or in our case, a 24-hour period. So it's directly into your bloodstream. So that would be faster acting, right? The effects would be faster acting than having to go through your digestive system. Does that make sense? So again, I wasn't present for the explanation that you probably heard, but my guess is being full spectrum, meaning it has all the most number of medicinal benefits to it, having the cover of an essential oil on it over time, it's not going to evaporate. You're going to get more absorption because it's covered, and whatever they had to combine with it to make it happen. So I don't know.
Nicole, I top on that, and then I'm going to jump over to Gina. The nice thing about the patch, you know, I remember the first time I ever drank too much beer or too much alcohol, and I wanted to stop because I was drunk and I didn't like the way I felt. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't get out of it, right? And that's the same way with the CBD oil. If you start taking the CBD oil, once you've ingested it and you don't want it anymore, tough. You got to wait till it runs its course.
Yeah.
But if you've got the patch on, you start having something that doesn't feel right, you want to stop it, all you got to do is pull it off. And within a matter of minutes, according to what Dr. Ben was saying, it'll clear up. So, Gina, you watched Dr. Ben's interview, and he talked about, and you also heard Dr. Plant this past weekend, about the percentage that is,
the viability of.
Yes. Maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, so first of all, to get back to it's to support what Nicole was saying, is that, you know, in order for a substance to get in your body, you either breathe it, swallow it, or it's absorbed. Those three mechanisms. And they all have different ways of transporting these substances in our body, and it's a different amount of time and breakdown. And so that gets to your point, is that the CBD oil placed under the tongue as a drop has low viability, about 8%, I think it was, but it also has a very short half-life once it gets into the system. So it only lasts about 40 minutes. So every 40 minutes to 60 minutes, you're doing another drop. So that goes back to a $10 bottle is saving you today, but you're going to run out of that $10 bottle a lot sooner, and you're going to be spending another $10 and then another $10 when you could have just spent money on a patch and had it for a whole day. What you would have used probably a half a bottle in one day or something like that. You know, you get the idea of the math. So it's all about absorbability. So, and you made a very good point. If you don't really have control of the drop that you put under your tongue, that's a massive amount, and that can differ between children to adults, that absorbability. But with the patch, you know, it's through your skin, it's through, like Nicole said, it's covered. So, and if you don't like it, if you're feeling an effect, you can just take it off and immediately, you have relief from it. Like you said, if you're drinking too much alcohol, or if you put too much in your tongue, you don't like the effect, you got to wait. You have to wait for your body to process that out. So that's another reason for the patch. I mean, it's really a feedback, a really good feedback system with the patch. And the other thing too with that's why size won't matter, because your own absorbability specific for you. So a dose, 1 milliliter of a dropper for you and me might be very, very different, but the patch is going to work with me, the absorbability of my skin and where I put that on. So I just find that super, super interesting. And what a great innovative delivery system for people. I mean, talk about safety, efficacy. I mean, that's incredible. So I'm really excited about it.
So Can you just imagine, Zija is known as the Moringa Company, and all three of us being in Zija, we know how powerful Moringa oleifera is in the products that Zija has. Just imagine incorporating the nutrition that we get, which is the most nutritious plant in the world, and now we incorporate that with a CBD oil. I mean, what can you say to that?
Bye, Weight Watchers. I don't know. I mean, I'm just like, how could you just, you have these two natural plants, the super power plants of the earth that are there to reset your system. And honestly, I don't know how any way to be, but honest, I'm just blown away by just the potential for everyone that we talk to.
What I find, I'm going to piggyback, and I know that you want to keep this short, Wes, so I won't elaborate.
No, you're good.
You mentioned, Gina, earlier about how the CBD oil can get your brain talking to the rest of your body. Mm-hmm. So our nutrient-dense moringa, right, and our proprietary blend of all of the nutrients that it includes, right, we have 36 naturally occurring anti-inflammatories. We have omega-3, 6, and 9 in. That helps with your nervous system talk to itself. Mm-hmm. It takes your myelin sheath. It makes your nerves and everything start talking to each other, which has been disrupted, right? And then you have your all of your amino acids to help your body rebuild. But all those neural endings, those receptors that have been interrupted over time or clogged up with medications or filled with toxins rather than even really good things trying to get into your body, right? So you're able to repair the communication that's supposed to naturally occur in your body. And if I understand what you were talking about, these receptors in your brain and throughout your body are now working in concert because they are now
talking.
They're supposed to talk to each other. Adding in this, because I've been a Moringa user for 6 years. I've had wonderful things to say about it. I can tell you some stories. I can tell you how my body's responded over time. However, there's still some disruption happening, right? And for whatever reasons, because we're all different. So if my body started talking to itself like it used to when I was younger and less toxic and less whatever, stressed, right? Mm-hmm. Combine these nutrients now that have a neural pathway to travel the way they're supposed to.
Travel, yeah.
So if all these nutrients, which is information for your body, including this oil that can help it start talking to it. I mean, I'm literally.
I know. I mean, so your brain's about 80% intake, right? 80% intake and about 20% tells everybody else what to do. But it's only as good as the information it gets.
Right.
And so when you have, like, I can speak Spanish and Wes can speak Chinese and we're communicating, but nothing's happening. And there's all this noise and there's all this junk. But with the connection, with the CBD is that connector between the Chinese and the Spanish, making it reception now versus just noise.
Right.
And now you add nutrition, all the nutrition you possibly could need. And it's like, I mean, I'm speechless when it comes to just I don't really know if I even fully understand the magnitude of what we have our hands on. And I've heard people say that 2019 is the year for Zija. So if you are on the fence or now you're just as blown away as we are, having listened to this, get with the person who invited you to this and just ask questions. Because you really want to be a part of what's about to happen. I mean, it's something that we're at the front of something huge. So
it's worth a try.
Oh, yeah.
It's worth going to school for, right?
Yep. Exactly. Everyone knows someone in pain. Everyone knows someone who's tired, and everyone knows someone who doesn't have enough energy. Every one of us does. So if it's not for you, at least pass this information on to someone you care about, because you'd be doing them a disservice if you didn't.
I want to ask one more question and I heard this on the interview, and I don't want to bring it up because Ben shared this in his interview, or Dr. Ben. You know, if you've got joint pain, if you've got knee pain, or you say you've got a pain in the shoulder, say you've got a, what am I trying to think of? Not carpal tunnel. What's in your shoulder? You got huh? Yeah, shoulder pain.
Frozen shoulder or something.
Yeah. So you can take and put the patch directly on that area of pain, and what that CBD oil will do, well, it'll get in there and alleviate the pain because it blocks the pain response to the brain. I believe that's what he was saying.
It relaxes the mechanoreceptors, which are the pain sensors, but at the same time, it's going to start healing. So you are taking away the insult or the pain, but then you are increasing healing at the same time.
By reducing the inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's
response is
huge.
there for a reason, but chronic inflammation causes more problems.
Right.
Wow.
I think we don't even know what to say anymore. It's
rotator cuff is the word I was looking for. I knew I'd remember. Well, hey, ladies, we could talk for hours, and maybe we'll do this again sometime as more information comes out. The Zija product is set to roll out in March.
Mm-hmm. And we'll have more specifics. We'll have more specifics on the product itself in terms of the delivery and the details, but who cares? I don't care. I mean, for a detailed person, I don't even care. It's amazing.
Well, hey, I want to give you both an opportunity I want to give you both an opportunity to close this call out. Maybe just give a quick sum up, maybe something you want to share with those that are watching. I'll go ahead and start with you, Nicole, and then I'll close it out.
Well, first, thank you so much for inviting me to the Wellness Minute. As always, I love dialoguing with you about really exciting stuff. I just get to get my nerd on. So for those of you are friends of mine or you've kind of been invited to watch this, my advice and my high recommendation would be is to get more information if you need it, or ask, how do I order this now? And my second recommendation would be is to incorporate nutrition with CBD, give yourself 90 days and give us a report later and see what happens. That's my advice.
So thank you all so much. This has been so much fun. Thanks, Wes. I love these little wellness minutes. These are great. And Nicole, it's always a pleasure talking with you. I just love listening to you. So thank you everyone out there that watched this. And for me, the biggest thing I want to ask you to ask yourself is, what are you waiting for? I mean, how long are you going to remain a skeptic before you just jump in with the best company, the best products, the best science, the best testimonials, the best results? Just get with the person that either invited you to this, or if you know me as a friend or any of these wonderful people, just do yourself a favor and just get started.
Wow, you ladies are wonderful. I really appreciate your time. And my closing remarks I'm going to get out, everybody has that point or that event in life. We all have that, we shouldn't say one shot, but everybody gets that one shot that they could take, that they should have taken, that they, if I would have bought Apple stock when it was $5 a share, which I don't even remember when that was, look where I'd be today. You had that opportunity and you passed it up due to skepticism. Well, here's an opportunity with a company that's already on the forefront of nutrition with Moringa. I know they're coming out with a CBD product, which is unlike anything else. And the cost to get involved is minimal. I think as a customer or distributor, all you have to do is buy a product and you can get in. And if you can get in now, it's always good to get in early, right? Because this is going to set a trend. Zija is liable to double or triple in size in the next year or so. This is going to be huge. Yeah, it's a great product, but it's also an opportunity here to set yourself up for the future if you're serious about doing something like that. So thanks again, ladies. I really appreciate it. I'm going to close this out. I'll be in touch again. We'll do this again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.